The Washington Post now reporting tonight that Attorney General Jeff Sessions, when he was still a senator and an advisor to the Trump campaign, had meetings with Russia's ambassador to the U.S., but did not disclose them during his confirmation hearing.
Is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign? What will you do?
Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
All right.
Well, big show probably this week.
Yep.
So anyway, well, first off, let's start off by acknowledging that we finally got some imagery here. So
Finally did.
we got some camera action going. You can check it out on YouTube. And search the comments for all those links. We'll make sure that we promote ourselves shamelessly.
Right.
No, but listen to us because we're awesome. So you can check it out on YouTube now. The production value should only get better week to week. This is the first little try. So you know, you can check out my crappy bedroom with my TV and beers and all kinds of stuff. My lovely hearts up there.
My editing skills are budding.
Right.
So we'll see.
So
we'll see how it turns out.
We'll see how this goes. But anyway, so as you just heard in the clip, I think that Jeff Sessions is probably going to be story number one, the biggest thing that's going on, at least at the moment, in the news. So here's kind of the rundown on what happened with him. In January, Jeff Sessions went through his congressional hearing to be confirmed as part of Trump's administration as the Attorney General. And during that, Al Franken asked him if anyone in the Trump campaign who had contact with, paraphrasing here, if anyone in the Trump campaign had contact with Russia during the campaign, what would he do? Jeff Sessions stated that he was considered a surrogate of the campaign, and that he had no contact with the Russian government during the campaign, and that he couldn't answer the question based on that. Right. So this week, it was revealed that Senator Sessions, had at least 2 meetings with the Russian ambassador during the campaign, which started up the DOJ's launch into I guess they're launching an investigation now as to what those meetings were about. Jeff Sessions recused himself from overseeing any of that had to do with the campaign in Russia,
which I think he should have done.
Which I think was a good thing too.
I think everyone agrees that bit.
The Democrats, and I don't know, maybe a couple of Republicans. I know there's always a couple that are, but I haven't heard anything. So we'll just say for now, Democrats are calling for him to resign and also calling for a special prosecutor in the investigation. So firstly, we'll just start with the last point. I don't mind, I think it's good that he recused himself from the investigation.
So
I think it would have looked really bad if he didn't.
Yeah, there's definitely optics to it. I don't think it would have looked terrible. But I do think that it's probably the right thing to do if you want to avoid any more.
Right, it makes you an easy target. If you're the cop that investigates himself, guess why the community doesn't believe you? Because I bet
we're never guilty. Trust me. Don't even worry about it.
I'd have a lot of trouble finding dirt on myself too. That's all I'm saying. But so it's good that he recused himself, I think, and I also think that. I don't mind the special prosecutor route. I really don't. Because I think it still makes it kind of easy when you're like, okay, so yeah, I'm stepping away from it, but Mitch is going to have my back.
Everyone who works under me is going to now be in charge of investigating me.
You know me. You know we're friends. And even though we disagree, it's still a shady look on it, you know? So I don't know.
I think we're all agreeing that special prosecutors, and we live in the time now where I guess special prosecutors are needed. Everything is so polarized. People aren't doing their jobs.
I think special prosecutors should be, like, when it comes to things like Ferguson and Baltimore and all those things, like, I would prefer.
Those guys got to work too, man. Just give it to them.
Right. I would prefer if Bob McCullough is not on the case there, just because, like, it's a bad look, man. Right. So I don't mind.
I'm cool with all of that.
I don't mind Democrats calling for a special prosecutor. I think that if Jeff Sessions has nothing to hide, then there's nothing.
I think you see that's why he's communicating, so there is nothing to hide. So I think he's going to be. He's going to let him come in, look at all this stuff.
It's interesting that you forget meetings with people so quickly after they happen. And if that's the case, then. Man, I hope he doesn't forget anything that's really important to this country.
Like putting the tracking into guns and then sending it to Mexico. That was super important.
No, I don't think there's a lot of people that would defend Eric Holder on that.
I'm saying in comparison, it's probably not the worst thing ever. I think they will do an investigation on it, and I think it's going to be just fine. I think this whole Russia thing is smoke and mirrors, and it's just a witch hunt at this point.
Sometimes at the end of a witch hunt, you find a witch.
I think, like I said, sometimes at the end of a witch hunt, you convinced yourself you found a witch.
I don't know. Like, well, we'll
wait. I was
just
saying a lot of innocent people were murdered for being witches in witch hunts.
We'll wait for evidence, but it is interesting that that the number of people associated with the campaign continues to grow, and that had contacts with Russia.
But the context missing there is it's usually under their jobs.
Nah, that's the case. That's Flynn? The argument with Jeff Sessions is that you can. And
Claire McCaskill and the other people that
who aren't part of the campaign and are irrelevant to the argument.
All people that said it never happened. So
I'm not saying, and when people lie, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, they should be caught and held accountable.
Meant to lie, and Chuck Schumer and whoever else, Elizabeth Warren, or on the Republican side.
I think that you and I remember almost every argument we make against or to one another. I don't think it's hard to remember meetings.
I don't all the time, but I get your point.
Tops.
Tops.
I get
your point.
I think that it's pretty hard to, like, I would remember meeting a Russian, much less the ambassador. That's all I'm saying. Like, we're like, man, that guy with the voice that didn't sound like mine, I remember him. You know,
just saying, they meet a lot of people, so I can see how it gets confused. I don't think he meant to do anything by it, and that's the thing, and that's what it's going to come down to. Just like Hillary Clinton, they're going to argue intent.
That may be,
and he's going to get
that
fined.
may be true, but when it comes to, I think it looks fishy when it's a bunch of people all with the same story, all that can't remember. Look, it was BS when Hillary Clinton went to the FBI and couldn't remember 32 times.
Right.
When it came to her emails. It's BS when these guys tell you they had no contact during this time period when Russia was like the biggest thing that was being talked about at that time in the campaign. It's not like you
Obama.
It's not like you didn't know, as being part of the campaign, it's not like you didn't know that something could come up if you're meeting with them in September of 2016.
Well, I think, like we said, it's going to come down to what was said. And if it's something like, hello, sir, good to meet you, and that's it, like actually literally it, well, then, I could be like, I can totally see.
But here's the thing. Investigate it because it looks shady.
I'm good with all investigations going all over the place.
And that's fine. Yeah. Like, I think the investigation is a good thing, and I think as far as for as many people in the administration that pop up with this same trend, investigate all of them.
That's fine. I'm just saying don't get overzealous and start saying, well, we need to look at every single person.
No, that's fine. But if it pops up, if something shows up, then
Do you think it's a witch hunt, though? Do you think that they are over-prosecuting it on the left side? Do you think that Chuck Schumer's right for calling for him to resign?
No, I don't think that...
Mr. Crying Clown.
Yeah, no, I don't think that... Here's the thing. I don't think... For me, personally, I wouldn't call for him to resign until you gave me concrete evidence of why he should resign.
That'd be nice.
Now, it is arguable, like, if they go the perjury route, first of all, you have to
find
show intent, which was BS when Hillary Clinton got off on it, and it would be BS if Jeff Sessions did. Look, you can listen to the clip.
Comey's still there, man. It's gonna be fine.
You can watch the video, and you can hear what he said, and you can clearly hear that Al Franken asks him if anybody during the campaign talked to anybody in the Russian government? And the short answer is yes.
The short answer is
so.
Yes.
It looks like a cover up, and it looks like a cover up when the number of people speaking like that continue to forget what those conversations are about, or forget
what
those mean.
We're at like 2, so I wouldn't go overstating.
No, we're
that.
not. We're at more than 2.
I don't know.
I
haven't been hearing.
I don't know
about
all of them by name, but
Yeah.
I know Michael Flynn.
I know Michael Flynn, and I know Jeff Sessions.
Who got fired for lying to the vice president.
Right.
Nothing happened with Russia there, but because it popped up, you look at it. Like, of course, you look
I'm
at
just
it.
saying, like, this is the 4th time that they've accused someone in the Trump campaign to have some sort of tie to Russia, and every time they blow their wad within 4 seconds of declaring it
I
to get a
get
good
that,
headline, and there's
but that's
nothing
always
there
going to be the
every
opposition.
time.
Republicans did it with Benghazi too.
Yeah, they did.
Early on in Benghazi.
You didn't
it
agree
was-
with that.
No, I didn't. But I think both sides, yes, I agree that the overreaction is a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I think if something pops up,
it's gonna be boy who
I don't
cries
think
wolf,
it's,
man.
I don't think
Eventually-
it's bad to dig for things. That's your job as the intelligence community.
That's fine. Yeah, and again, I'm not at all against put everyone on trial. Let's just fucking do trials all day. That's fine. But like I said, when you go looking for it and you create stories and sensationalize them when it shouldn't be, we're gonna just not believe you after a while.
That's fine, but I think
I already don't think there's anything with this Russia thing. I think one
know.
guy made it up during a NBC interview or something like that, and they ran with it, and there's literally no evidence. Again, 4 different times they've looked into it.
I mean, I don't know that there's no evidence. I think it keeps.
They claimed there was evidence that they hacked into the DNC, that they could have stolen material, but there's no evidence that they leaked it to WikiLeaks.
But there's all
Julian
these-
Assange says that
look,
they were not the ones who leaked it to WikiLeaks.
Julian Assange is BS. Julian Assange played for Donald Trump the entire election cycle. I'm not trusting.
I'm not gonna lie and say he wasn't on his team. Well, I wouldn't. Okay, I'm not gonna say on his team, but he wanted him to win, or at least for Hillary to lose. Maybe, but that doesn't show that they colluded in any way.
Julian Assange can suck it. I hope you're watching.
I'm sure he is. No, but that's the whole
pest.
thing. There's all these little tiny theories that people have from different things that happened, and I think there was a broader narrative to it. I think Hillary Clinton fucking sucked, and a lot of people don't like her, so they worked against her. I don't think there's absolutely any involvement with the Trump campaign, and I haven't looked into the whole allegation yet of that Obama tapped the phone lines and all of that.
Which I think was probably made up by Mark Levin, who is
I don't even know who that is.
Freaking, oh my God, Mark! If you don't know who he is, good job. Keep it that way. You don't need to listen to this guy. He sounds like a freaking 1940s gangster.
Listen up, see?
Republicans just mercy. That's not FCC appropriate.
No.
Hold myself to a higher standard. I'll just take the Donald Trump route.
That's right. All day winning.
No, but I look. The fact of the matter is, I don't have a problem with it being looked into.
I don't even have, if that thing is true with Obama, I don't have a problem if he did it. I mean, I think that when it comes down to it,
I have trouble with that, with the wiretapping
I kind
thing.
of don't, because I kind of get it. If you're the president of the United States, Barack Obama, regardless, take yourself out of the situation with the election. You have reports that someone in your country running for office is colluding with a foreign entity to rig the election and win. Now, I'll say he was pretty silent on Hillary's whole thing, but even still, being the commander-in-chief, I see why you would want to tap his shit and find out and make sure that they're not, because that's a big deal. And if you have the means,
Yeah, I mean... Yeah.
Patriot Act exists. He can do it.
Right. No, I don't disagree. It sucks, though.
It looks bad. It looks like he was setting up Trump.
It does, and
I still think he's got the right to do it.
I don't like to typically be on the side of the Patriot Act or the NSA or wiretapping.
No, we're millennials. That's not our thing.
I don't like the whole. Now I get, as far as your argument goes, because of national security purposes and whatnot.
It would be irresponsible and kind of. That's my sort of reasoning behind it.
That's why I would say, if I was to say that, it's okay. That's the basis that's done on, though.
But still, fuck that.
But I don't think that if Barack Obama didn't like your analysis of his story, that he should probably tap your phone. That's
right.
You know.
Well, there's an abuse of power. I wouldn't view this as an abuse of power. I think that he was well within his rights. It could be totally fake. It could be false. But we'll find
Fake
out.
news. fake
news.
news.
So, like I said, but going back to it, Jeff Sessions ain't going anywhere. I mean, I don't think that there's anything there.
I mean, if there's nothing there, then no, he's not, and that's fine. He shouldn't. And I don't think I'm not going to go along with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
That was the other one, yeah, Nancy Pelosi,
because
who was also met with
I don't think you resign until something is. But I will say
the Russian ambassador is doing his job. He's meeting with a lot of people on both sides of the aisle.
I would say that it's very. Donald Trump Jr. was one of the people that met with Russians.
I don't have a problem with the whole thing, the nepotism and all of that.
But
I don't see it. These are competent people that he trusts. Why not involve them?
You only see two people, Michael Flynn and Jeff Sessions, but it's not. It's Carter Page. It's Donald Trump Jr. I'll
include him because I know him. I don't know that Carter douchebag.
It's like two other sources whose names I can't remember because there's so many of them every day.
I just forgot them. I mean, who would ever forget things?
I can't. Yeah, I can't recollect. I don't know.
I don't know. Let me ask you 30 times.
So, but as long as names keep popping up, look at what they said.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, and I'm fine with getting it.
Said.
I think me and you fundamentally come from a different conclusion. I think there's nothing there, and I think you think there's something there, and I don't see it.
I think there could be something there. I
don't even think there. Obviously, there could be, but I don't think there could be. I'm coming from the assumption that nothing's happening.
Right, and I'm coming from the more skeptical.
The belief?
No, it's not necessarily a belief. I'm just skeptical.
Well, we just lost video, so we're gonna have somewhat of it.
Man.
Yep.
Little hills, little bumps.
Little bumps in the road.
Little bumps. Well, that was fun.
I mean, I guess we can wrap up the audio segment as well, but still, we're going to have to see. Because I don't think that this Russia thing is anything.
I think that as long as it's a question, keep looking at it. And I think
that's fine with me. Just don't witch hunt and overstep your bounds, Chuck Schumer.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But
God damn it, he's a douche, man.
He is. I'm really upset with the Democrats because,
that position's toxic.
So,
whoever gets in there.
I haven't I haven't called myself a Democrat for a long time. For several presidential cycles, you know that. I've called myself an independent. I lean liberal.
But you really voted for Hillary.
I did not. I really voted for me. And my wiener.
4 more years.
So I don't call myself a Democrat, but when, I'm not going to lie and say that I was excited about Trump. I was not excited about Trump.
I was
winning the election, possibly.
Not my president.
Not my president. Stole it. He stole it. But
says the party of superdelegates. Shut up.
Right. So I don't know. I don't call myself a Democrat, but I hope that for both parties of power, because I like Paul Ryan. I
was a big Paul Ryan guy there for a while. I think that as toxic as those leadership positions are, I still think Paul Ryan, he's fallen on the different side of the fence of me every now and again.
Yeah.
For the most part, he stayed true to where he was coming from.
I like Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan's probably my favorite Republican. And then
I need to grow his beard back out. What the fuck? That was cool.
I like Marco Rubio too, but Marco Rubio kind of...
He's been a little more silent. Well, he's not in a leadership position, so we just don't hear about him.
But Chuck Schumer was such a disappointing result for that pick, because when he was picked, both sides thought that or at least both sides, as far as the media is concerned, thought that Chuck Schumer was a good pick, that was somebody that would reach across the aisle, and he has been exactly the opposite.
Right.
He has been Elizabeth Warren.
I think that he's pressured because the Democrats have no power.
Yeah.
They have nothing besides throwing temper tantrums and over-exaggerating.
But his daily responses to things are just so ridiculous.
He's not crying anymore, so
he's
that's
not crying, but he's still he still
that's
makes these little underhanded comments that are and it's just... I just don't like it. It's just not a good look. Let's have a little bit more compromise and class. Don't compromise on bad things. Nobody's saying vote against your principles or do
right.
there are
things that we agree on.
Be real about your principles.
Donald Trump was a Democrat for how many years? There are things that they can agree on.
Up until 2016, I think.
Right. There are things that we can agree upon, and I think that it's seeing the way that I can't remember. Well, we'll get into that segment next, talking about the speech, because she did a few things that pissed me off.
Yep.
Anyway, going back to Sessions, I think he's not going anywhere. I don't think there's shit to be found, but I am totally fine if they want to go looking and digging around and finding it.
I'm not going to go out and say that I don't think he's going anywhere, because it all depends on what they find. So, but bigger than Jeff Sessions. Like, what hurts Jeff Sessions and what causes investigations like this is when it appears to be a cover-up. And when it's 6 people now, it appears to be a cover-up.
I still don't think so, because every time they look into what content, it was like nothing.
But they, have to look into it to know that.
If they said it and it's like 15 minutes long,
that's fine.
And redacted shit everywhere, I'd be like,
that's fine.
That's shady as fuck.
But all we're saying on the opposite side of, oh, everything's just fine there, is I want to know. Like, I want to know. So, like, yeah.
I want Hillary's 30,000 emails.
Right. Russia, if you're listening.
Just take them all.
So, I don't know. I don't have a problem with the investigation. Trump. If nothing comes up, then I think that my side, not Democrats, but I think more liberal standing people should say, okay, nothing was there, and we'll move on. But as long as it looks like a cover-up, I say continue to look into it, because just because there's nothing there doesn't mean you won't find something.
Yeah.
If there is something there, hopefully it will be found. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Fair?
I think that's fair.